Alrighty guys, we're back for some Rakdos mid-range, and this is a Dominaria United Standard Brew. We're going to go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Redcat, and I play aggro decks, and any decks with red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to you guys. Also, we do got that Discord link down in the description. If you want to join that up, I highly recommend it. What do we got in the build here? We got 4 cut downs, 3 March of the Wretched Sorrow, 2 Infernal Grasp, and 3 Abrades. Now this is all of our spot removal for the early game. Abrade can also hit artifacts, which is going to be pretty cool because Bankbuster is everywhere right now. Speaking of Bankbuster, we got 3 of them. Yeah, it's just really good. If you're not using your spot removal on your opponent's turn, then you're activating the Bankbuster ability to draw those extra cards. Speaking of drawing extra cards, Morbid Opportunist. We got a couple of these in here, and I think this is one of those cards that's just looking for the right home. So 3 mana, 1/3, whenever 1 or more creatures die, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. It's going to be pretty easy to have a creature die on your turn, and then have a creature die on the opponent's turn as well. So you're just drawing a ton of cards off of Opportunist. I think this has a huge target on its back, like the opponents are going to want to remove this immediately. But I think it's going to be interesting to see if it actually does a lot here. We got 4 Fable of the Mirror Breakers because naturally, guys, it's funny, this deck has some seriously powerful cards. Meathook Massacre's out of the format, and we have like the next 2 best cards just packed in this deck. Fable of the Mirror Breaker being one of them, of course. We got 2. Hide-Sugu Consumes All. So this is a 3 mana saga. Hopefully I pronounced that right. 3 mana saga with Rakdos colors up there. So on chapter 1, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. So that's going to hit a lot of tokens, and there are a lot of mana value 1 or less cards that we want to hit with this. For example, like Kumano or Phoenix Chick, or what else do people run right now? Either way, you guys get the point. There's a lot of 1 mana cards. There's a lot of tokens too. A lot of Wedding Announcement floating about. So if a couple Wedding Announcements from the opponent got out of hand, then maybe this is the card to drop. So second chapter here, exile all graveyards. That's pretty sick. That takes care of Tenacious Underdog, for example. Decks that are running the Djinn and the Terror in them are going to absolutely hate that ability. Chapter 3, you exile it. It comes back as Vessel of the All-Consuming, a 3/3 trample. When it deals combat damage, or yeah, when it deals damage, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And then when it deals damage to a player, if it has dealt 10 or more damage to that player this turn, they lose the game. I don't know how often that bottom ability is going to come into play, but it's worth noting, like it's there, you know? Got a couple Karn Silex here, a 3 mana legendary artifact, and it enters tapped. Players can't pay life to cast spells or to activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. So that's interesting. So for example, like Infernal Grasp isn't affected because destroy target creature, you lose 2 life. It doesn't say as an additional cost to cast this, you lose 2 life. You know what I mean? So what this affects then, of course, right now is Tenacious Underdog is the big one you're going to see, because to blitz it back from the grave, you have to pay the 2 life. So that's going to lock that down at least. So you can pay X, tap it, exile Karn Silex, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value X or less, activate only as a sorcery. This can do a lot of cleanup, guys. X is 4 would just absolutely devastate most board states, just completely devastate it. Against decks like, we're seeing a lot of Gruul aggro right now, like yeah, an X's 4 would destroy like everything in a Gruul aggro deck, but it also might be a bad example because Gruul aggro has a lot of haste that they'll be able to slam down too, and they'll obviously see the Karn Silex coming too, so they can keep cards back in their hand. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how often this comes into play. Got a couple Sheoldred naturally. You guys know the card, very powerful, works with like everything in here. We're drawing off the Opportunist. We got that second chapter on Fable doing some work for us, gaining us some life with Sheoldred too, you know. We got Bankbuster drawing us cards too. On the top end, of course, we have Invoke Despair drawing us cards as well. By the way, this whole top end here is our win condition of the deck, or win conditions, I should say, right? So we got a couple, Sorin the Mirthless here, and this is a 4-mana legendary planeswalker with 4 loyalty. You get to plus it, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card and put it into your hand. If you do, you lose life equal to its mana value. So hopefully you're not losing too much life, and hopefully you're gaining enough life back from our cards like March of the Wretched Sorrow, for example. Did I go over March? We don't see the Wretched Sorrow that often, which is pretty surprising. I should go over this real quick. So for X and a black, it's instant speed. It deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain X life. So pretty good card, especially since it also has this on here too. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may exile any number of black cards from your hand. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. And as you guys saw, there's going to be a lot of ways to get extra cards into your hand. There's a lot of things that are just drawing us cards in this deck, so I don't know, man. We'll see. Sorin also has this -2, where you get to create a 2/3 black vampire creature token with flying and lifelink. So these flying lifelink vampires have haunted us many a times in the past, and it is now time to haunt our opponents with them instead. We got a couple. Oh, we should go over the -7 because it's not going to be unheard of to hit this -7. So Sorin the Mirthless deals 13 damage to any target, and you gain 13 life. At that point, if you actually got this to the point where you can -7 the Sorin, then you're probably just winning the game right then and there anyways, but I mean, we'll see. Couple Jayas, and this is a 4-mana, 4 loyalty legendary planeswalker. So for +1, you get to create a 1/1 red monk creature token with prowess. Nice. For the -1, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. Very nice. And then -2, choose target creature and opponent controls. Whenever you attack this turn, Jaya deals damage equal to the number of attacking creatures to that creature. So it doesn't look like it, but this deck can actually have a bunch of creatures on the board, and so if you are swinging in and you're using that -2 on Jaya, you're probably wrapping up the game right then and there, because you're probably dealing like maybe 4 or 5 damage to their best creature with that full swing. But I mean, we'll see, because you know the deck doesn't have too many ways to do early excuse me guys, it doesn't have too many ways to deal that early damage, so it really depends. I just think that the -2 is actually going to be pretty decent removal, even though it might not look like it in this particular build. The -8 we shouldn't even look at. You're not going to want to do the -8 in this particular deck, but you get an emblem, and whenever you cast a red instant or sorcery, you copy it twice, and then you can choose new targets for the copies. That is literally only a Braid in this particular build, so you're not looking at the -8 on Jaya at all. What we're looking at from these planeswalkers are token generators. We want a lot of monks, and we want a lot of vampires, and we want to be able to draw off of Sorin too. That's the main point of the planeswalkers here. Then of course I went over it. We have the 4 Invoke Despairs. You guys know what it does. It can draw you a ton. It can drain the opponent's life very fast, especially if you're using all of that other removal here early on. So yeah, we got all 4 of the Bloodfell Caves in here, as well as the Haunted Ridge and the Sulphurous Springs, because mainly because of that Invoke Despair, you really don't want to see like multiple red sources. For example, if you see 3 swamps, your mountain, and a crucible, now you can't drop your Invoke Despair. So that's why we have all the extra dual land, and the Bloodfell Caves isn't going to slow us down too much, and the life gain can go a long way too. Some honorable mentions, guys. Bloodtithe Harvester. Yeah, I mean, it seems like an obvious addition. You could also go like the Voltage Surge route if you go the Harvester route, which could be interesting to say the least. Bloodtithe Harvester is a great target for a Reflection of Kiki-Jiki as well. Something to think about. Celestus could be really cool in here too. That's all I got to say about that. It could be really cool. Burn Down the House. We got to see exactly where the format is settling after Meathook, and it's been interesting because we've just been seeing so many different things already. People are trying out a bunch of different builds. I just couldn't find room for a Burn Down the House this time round. And then Torch Breath is definitely worth noting here too. For X and a red, it can't be countered, and it costs 2 less to cast if it targets a blue permanent. Torch Breath deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. So maybe you don't have all 3 of the March of the Wretched Sorrow, for example. This could be a decent replacement for it, honestly. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, guys, hopefully I went over the deck well enough. My goodness, there's a lot packed in here. Either way, let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. And right into the first match. Very nice. What you bring into the table, opponent? I'm pretty excited to see, honestly, because yeah, like I said, it's been pretty different. Ooh, I don't like seeing only 2 mana here, but we have 25 total. The hand works. We got early removal. I'm going to try it. We have a couple turns to draw. We're on the draw as well, so... Kamano, huh? Nice, okay. We saw the mana. Let's get the swamp down to potentially cut down whatever they play here. It's, oh, it's going to be a lightning strike that they keep open, huh? Alright, we have the Braid available. Let's see what they end up doing. Also, they didn't play anything last turn, so maybe they just didn't have anything. Squee! Hi, Squee! So I think we take out Squee here, and we'll do it with the cut down. I think that's fine. We'll keep the Abrade back for now. Maybe we can see our Consumes All before they get the Squee back from the grave, you know? Opportunist is a pretty good blocker. And if they end up using, like, Burn to take it out, like, if we block and they use, like, a Play with Fire or something... Oh, it's gonna be Gruul! Ooh! Hallandale! Oh, crap, guys. Oh, that's really bad. Alright, first of all... We're gonna take the 4. We're gonna keep the Opportunist for a second. Oh, another Invoke Despair. Oh, that's really good, isn't it? Oh, man. First of all, we have to go Abrade onto the Hallandale, don't we? Like, Sheoldred does block. It does have Death Touch and stuff. And it gains us a bunch. If we just take the damage next turn and then Invoke Despair, then we'll gain a bunch from Sheoldred too. I don't know, because we get a draw if we take out Hallandale right now. Let's see what we draw. Let's see what we draw, because we don't want whatever they have in their hand to get haste from the Hallandale too. Like, this is a tough decision. It's going to be a swamp. Keep the Opportunist as a chump blocker, and we're probably going to chump block with it too, so... Oh, man. Right up against Gruul is pretty scary. Second Squee and a Llanowar. So, we don't have to chump block. We can take this out, and we get a draw here. It's pretty scary, though, because taking 6 is a lot. Invoke Despair just isn't going to be enough here. Yeah, we're going to do this for now. I know it's risky. I know we're taking extra damage. Oh, nice! Nice! What do we want to hit? Probably the Squee, I guess? Yeah, I guess the Squee, because this whole going wide nonsense is probably too valuable for the opponent. So because of our Invoke Despairs. And then we still have the Chump Blocker. 2 Squees are in the grave. Sheoldred still isn't that bad. Especially now that it can block the Etching and we don't know what's left in their hand. Oh, okay. Well, hey, GG opponent. Wow. I think it was actually looking pretty good for us, huh? So obviously there, it was coming down between the Invoke Despair and the Sheoldred. I think I'm leaning towards the Sheoldred here. How about you guys? Invoke Despair just takes care of Loam Speaker, draws us a couple cards, and does 4 damage to the opponent, which means we'd still probably have to chump next turn. If this was just like a land in their hand or something, then I completely understand the concede there. But if it was Sheoldred, yeah, if we drop Sheoldred, then it blocks the Kumano really well. Yeah, I think it was the Sheoldred play over the Invoke, especially since then on the next turns, the Invoke was going to gain us a bunch of life too. So, yeah, hey, GG. That was a good first match, I'd say. Right up against Gruul aggro is pretty scary, but our spot removal was able to do enough there, and the Morbid Opportunist drawing us that Abrade was actually just insane, wasn't it? That was freaking sweet. Alright, opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? You got more Gruul for me? Scary stuff, man. That's definitely the aggro build that I'm seeing played the most as of right now. Great starter hand here. Very, very powerful. Oh, I can't believe we're going first, too. That's interesting. Bloodfell Caves, we'll get that down now. Must be up against some control, then. Excuse me, guys. Oh, evolved Sleeper. Yeah, we'll take care of this now. And then they can go search for their land, which I wonder if it's going to just be Dimir. Nope, they got a Plains too. Okay, this will be interesting. Okay, so actually just going to play the Swamp here, because we could end up just drawing Swamp off the top, and then we won't have to take damage for like the Invoke Despair or something. I think that makes sense. But I doubt that's what's going to happen, so we're going to have to play this either way, probably. Reckoner, Bankbuster, okay. So, oh, it cut down, okay. I was going to say, if we get some ramp here, we'll just go right into Invoke Despair since we get to draw a bunch. That's not bad, is it? We don't know what we're up against right now. I'm not sure I like the Infernal Grasp here. And we might need this, so I'm just going to ditch the Infernal Grasp and hopefully not regret that. Hey, Jaya, wow. We better get that down while we can before it gets, like, countered or something. That seems pretty good.
You know what's happened to all my enemies?
Yeah, that seems pretty good, guys.
The experience will do you good.
If we don't draw a land, then we might be able to see one from the -1. Tenacious Underdog. And a Abrade. Okay. So how do we want to do this? We gotta play around a counterspell here, maybe. I wouldn't mind searching for that land. But I'm curious to see that they probably just draw off the Bankbuster here. There's probably no counterspell, but there could be. I would expect more something like an Infernal Grasp to be a thing. You know? So before I do the Jaya, because I might just go +1, I want to see if the Underdog dies to this. They can also crew up Bankbuster too. That way we can't swing with the Monk this turn. Well, we totally could, but I'm not going to use like the March or anything. Right, so the Underdog is in the grave, and so now we're actually going to search for that land then. So if that didn't go through, this might have been a little bit of a different turn. Search for that land. Okay, yeah, I'll just do the Swamp. It's fine either way. And then we can, so it does get rid of our Monk, unfortunately, but next turn exiling this Tenacious Underdog seems a little better. Can also swing here, March of the Wretched Sorrow for 2 to take out. That's actually not bad, is it? Can actually march for 1 because the prowess here. I'm sorry, opponent. I think I'm overthinking my plays here a little bit too much. Yeah, we'll hold this off since our token's gonna die to the consumes all anyways. So we can X is 1 and then keep 1 open. I don't know what the 1's gonna be that we keep open. We can also X is 2 to gain more. Yeah, I'll gain more because it's not like we have enough to pay for a make disappear anyways. So we might as well submit 0. And then the monk goes up to a 3/3. That's why we could have done the X is 1, but I like gaining extra here. They're gonna draw, yep. Bankbuster's out of here, and then next turn, now this doesn't hit our own token, so I'd say that is a worthwhile trade. Jaya can go -1 again if we want. Just to find more. Also just an Invoke Despair. My assumption is the opponent's going to keep like their mana open though, so just running down the Invoke is pretty sketchy. The second they tap out though... Ooh, they're going to tap out. Okay. So Invoke can draw us a ton here. Is it worth saving Jaya? I mean, Jaya is still alive, so let's just keep our reflection. And then we'll just go for the plus on Jaya instead. Because, yeah, like the Invoke Despair, everything here is going to help us get a lot more. We could always get this down, but I think it's going to sit in our hand. I think that's how it's going to be for now. Go plus on Jaya. Fable's actually a terrific draw, but while we can, we're going to get the draws off of Invoke Despair. Like, while it's not getting countered, you know? Also a ton of damage, too, so... Sheoldred, sweet. Okay. Raffine, Scheming, Seer. Well, Cut Down does hit that. And then we can still play a Sheoldred. Let's see if the Cut Down, before we do anything else here, let's see. Actually, depends how much of an attack we want to get to, because we could copy the Monk. Or do I just want to go Sheoldred this turn? Probably just the Sheoldred. So let's see if this hits. Oh no, we have to pay that extra 1 anyways, so we might as well. Sorry, opponent. Let's go for some extra damage here. Gotta pay the extra 1, so we might as well try to drain the opponent's life as much as possible. My thought process. Pay the 1. See if the counter happens. I'm waiting for something. Some kind of interaction for us. Okay. Yeah, we're still gonna plus the Jaya. Not bad. Not bad at all. It's a little bit funny because we're kind of at the advantage right now. So the consumes all just seems pretty bad. It seems pretty janky right now, but there's gonna be plenty of moments where it's literally the play. Like, it's the thing that you have to do to survive, you know? Wedding Announcement, they keep the 2 open. Okay, interesting. So we're gonna go Reflection again here. Copy that. And I guess we could see what we hit off the top, because we might hit some spot removal, which would be really good. Infernal Grasp is acceptable because we have Bankbuster too. The 2 open, all of our monks get that prowess, and then we drop the Bankbuster potentially, and then full swing. So they need something here. They need something to interact with us. Maybe stop the Bankbuster, but yeah, the prowess is still going off. Hey, GG guys, that was pretty sick. I like it. We were kind of, like I said, at an advantage for a while, and so the consumes all didn't do much. Didn't even play the Shieldred. Karn Sylex wasn't going to do anything in that match really either because, yeah, we just kind of... We got the Jaya down, and then Jaya put in a lot of work. We had so much spot removal there that finding the Infernal Grasp, I mean, it was probably pretty likely that we were going to hit something off the top, right? Nice. I like it so far. 2 victories. Not too bad. Not too bad. Honestly, the rest of the matches can go however they want, but it would be interesting to... be really interesting to see that Consumes All come into play. Alright, opponent, what are you bringing to the table, buddy? Not a bad hand, I like it. Got the early cut down, the Karn Sylex for 3. Looks like the Karn Sylex is gonna come in handy this time round. Better go Swamp instead of Haunted Ridge. That way we actually have cut down. I almost dropped the Ridge. That would have been pretty bad. Because we might need this. Okay, it's not Boros. Yeah, we'll cut down the Initiate. How do you get... No, I'll take the 1. I'll take the 1. There's gotta be better targets. Okay. Thalia. Gross. I'm gonna take out Thalia on our turn for 2 mana. I like that better. An Infernal Grasp. You can also do it on their turn too, but we don't know if they have any protection in their build. Because Selesnya can be running Tamiyo's Safekeeping and also Boon of Safety. You might see that somewhere, sometime, at some point. So I think taking out Thalia on our turn's the best. Whoa! It's got blue in here too. Pretty scary. Might be some counter spells then. I would hate to see a counter spell happen. Yeah, I'm holding back. Not playing anything here. The double Jaya is an interesting thing. Okay, Adeline's scary, huh? They still have this 1. It could be a Spell Pierce. Before they swing, though, I'm going to try to hit the Adeline with the Infernal Grasp. Not a Spell Pierce. That's good news. We could still take out Initiate by exiling the Opportunist out of our hand, but we're just going to take the 1. The 1 open. Got a Swamp, so Jaya can't come down just yet, and that's okay. That's fine. Opportunist blocks pretty well, and if they play like a second Adeline, then we can take out that token to draw. I like the Opportunist here. And we actually don't have any black cards in hand to use that first ability on March. Really? Okay, that one doesn't make sense to me, right? What could have been in their hand? Man, the opponents have been conceding a lot recently. Yeah, we barely played anything. They barely played anything. I mean, oh well, I'll take the victory, I guess. GG opponent. I wonder how long it was going to take us to see the second red source for the Jaya. Sometimes it takes a second. That's why we have like all the dual lands packed in here too. Like we have to see the black for Invoke Despair for sure, but then there is the double red on the Jaya, but also only the 2 Jayas, so. Ooh. Opponent goes first here. Alright, we'll try it. Got 3 victories in a row, we might as well. We might as well try it. Also, like, double Sorin once we get there. That's pretty good. Spirited Companion. Since Sorin has a huge target on its back, it's probably going to die, and then we have that second one as backup. Yeah, I'm not going to keep the March open. Let's just get the Bloodfell Cave down now. I mean, it technically is open if we had to hit something, but we're not going to. Okay. Oh, Mardu. Wedding announcement. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty bad. So probably Mardu tokens then. Our Consumes All would be amazing against this build. Let's get the Fable down. Definitely better than the March of the Wretched Sorrow here. Although we might want to start considering some of these. Fable, yeah, we're definitely gonna hit the Goblin Shaman. We know that much. Wow, they're gonna keep. They have enough to keep like a could be a Flame Blessed Bolt in a deck like that, or like a Play with Fire. They just want to make sure they do it before we swing here. They don't know if we're ramping into anything important though. Bankbuster could be pretty good against a deck like that. And honestly, the March, we're going to play one of them this turn to take out the Goblin probably. Well, I don't know if we get rid of anything. Call me crazy, but I think this hand combats this quite well. Yeah, we could have searched for the Consumes All, but it's not like we're dying next turn, you know? As a matter of fact, just getting the 2/3 black Vampire might be good. I really don't want them to ramp, though. They might double block this, but I don't think they do. Let's start with the swing. Triple block. Wow, okay. Playing around at least one spot removal here, and we're gonna take out the humans over the Spirited Companion. So we know that the Spirited Companion can probably come back in a deck like this. Taking out some of their tokens is pretty good, guys. It's pretty good. And if we don't want to play anything else here, we can at least march this so they don't ramp. Actually, is that just better than just getting the Sorin down? They ramp, at least the 2/3 blocks the Shaman, or they waste removal on it and take out the Sorin, which we have a second one. Alright, we'll go Sorin. We'll go Sorin, and we have the second one in hand. Reflection, if our Vampire doesn't end up dying, can eventually start copying the Vampire, which gains us a bunch of extra life too. Technically, we can march, exile the other march to take out the Shaman, so we'll see what they end up doing before combat. See if that's something we want to consider. These style of mid-range builds are always tricky for me to play. Always tough. As it's a little bit out of my comfort zone, but as opposed to like an aggro build or something, you know? Woo, buddy! Oh my goodness. I wonder if where they put this to. Oh, the Sorin, that's right, yeah. It's a good target for it. Yeah, we're gonna keep the March back because March for 4 on the... oh, they're actually holding too. Everything's gonna buff. Oh, that means it's a 4/5 Angel. Oh no. Alright, let's see what we draw. Okay, we did see mana here. Yeah, I really don't like to use the top ability on the March unless we really have to, or if we have a lot of extra cards in hand, which I feel like we don't right now, so... March of the Wretched Sorrow for 5 on our turn could be good. Could be. We just don't exactly know what the opponent's deck is running, so we might just want to do it on our turn. It's not like they have blue or anything, but it could be some kind of crazy protection. It could be. It probably isn't. Yeah, I'm doing it on our turn. Just in case. Submit 0. Now, what we really want to see, guys, the Consumes All would be terrific. Could just get some damage through. but it still blocks like the human and the companion, so we're gonna hold back again. Yeah, the Consumes All would be pretty good because this is definitely like a token deck, and hitting some of those tokens could be good. It doesn't hit Companion, Reflection, or Wedding Festivity though. Double block here isn't bad, but we're just gonna take the 3. Because it could be a spot removal from the hand, and then that double block would be pretty bad, so... Spirited Companion. Karn Silex would be pretty good here, too. Because Karn Silex for 3 would just get rid of everything that the opponent's rocking. So, Rite of Oblivion. Okay. Swamp off the top. Not bad at all. I'll take it. Sorin could get us another vampire, but it probably dies to a full swing then. The ramp on the shaman's pretty bad, especially now that we know they have Rite of Oblivion in the deck, which, you know, that extra treasure, what they sacrifice, so that's really bad. They can always copy it with Reflection, too. Is it literally Bankbuster? Do we do it on our turn again? We still don't entirely know what's in the opponent's deck. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Hitting Reflection might be better here too, because they're going to copy Companion to draw. I don't know. Alright. I talked myself into it. We'll hit the Reflection on our turn, because we still don't entirely know what we're up against here. They probably just swing with the 3/3 again, but that we are holding back the other tokens with our vampire, so that's fine. If they use the Rite of Oblivion on the vampire, that's perfect for us, because like we still have our other generators in hand. Little bit of a problem, guys. Yeah, 2 Karn's Silexes in the deck and 2 Consumes All, and it would be amazing to see either one of those. Because just the simple spot removal for a deck that is going wide is pretty rough. Get the extra treasure. Rite of Oblivion's terrifying. Liliana. Okay, so there goes the... It's got to be the -2 here, right? Right. So, Fable. That's pretty good. Do we draw first to look for the wipe, though? Yeah, I think so, because we can still play the Fable. Let's see what we draw here. Not bad. This isn't looking great for us, guys. We're going to go Fable because we might discard next turn to search for what we need. As I thought the double Sorin was going to be pretty good here, I'm not convinced anymore. Hopefully the Reflection was the right target there. I think so. I think drawing with the Companion and whatnot. They go for the +1. Jaya is probably the hard to go. I don't know. That's tough. That's tough. Let's go Sorin. As we might end up just discarding the Jaya to the chapter 2 on the Fable anyways, so. Pretty cool deck, opponent. Pretty cool. Very, very powerful cards over there. Do we actually trade? No, I guess not. Let's just take the damage. See what we draw, because that extra treasure could do something, potentially. It could. Woo! Enduring Angel. Oh my goodness. Alright, let's see what we find here. A Cut Down and a Jaya, huh? Alright. Still have 3 mana. Let's see what we hit here. We're still kind of looking for, like, the Karn Silex. Okay, Bankbuster, mana. Okay, we'll go mana. And we'll go for the draw. Still have the Cut Down open and 2 mana. Oh, Sulphurous Springs. All right. Well, we're not dead. The double strike's gonna hurt. And they're gonna -2 to... Are we dead? We're darn close, aren't we? It depends what they have in their hand. Yeah, we'll just keep the cut down open. We can't even hit the 3/3 Goblin Shaman. Brutal stuff. I guess we'll make them remove the Goblin Shaman too. Okay, they go for the discard here. They don't want to lose their Liliana. Yeah, we were holding out because, yeah, a Karn's Sylex could have done a thing, but it comes out tapped, so we really had to see it last turn. Oh, they're not even gonna... They're gonna... Okay. Okay. Where are they swinging here? I was double checking the Enduring Angel's ability as well. So they get a treasure token. They didn't even go like Rite of Oblivion for the Goblin Shaman. So Jaya, if we go here, survives. We might as well keep it alive, you know, instead of trading. I think that makes the most sense. We could also cut down the companion, so that way we can successfully -1 Jaya next turn. I think that's okay. I'll do that. We're taking a lot of damage in the air, guys. And we're letting the opponent play this out because, man, that looks like fun. Enduring Angel's an interesting addition to the build, and I think like as a one-of or something like that, that can really lock down the opponent. Ah, they go Rite of Oblivion for Jaya. That makes sense. Oh, Rite of Oblivion's a terrifying card. Let's draw up a Bankbuster and see what we draw here. Yeah, we really needed to see our board wipes in the last game. Or in the last turn, I mean, sorry. That's that. I'll use that on the opponent's turn, though, and we'll let them swing in as well, because maybe they'll actually end up holding stuff back instead, which would be interesting, too. Overall, I really like this deck. I think that we gotta talk about some of these decks that are running like the Wedding Festivity and stuff. They're going a little bit wider now that Meathook is out of here. Okay, we'll go ahead and just get rid of the pilot here. This is fine. This is the last turn, I would say, since they have the 8 in the air. Our Abrade does take care of something, but yeah, if they didn't full swing, then we would have had an extra turn, but I mean, we knew that the full swing was happening. A good game, opponent. We gotta drop the emote. Hold on. Play the emote. There we go. Whew, makes it worth it. 75% win rate today, guys, and some of those wins were interesting. The third win there, that's the one where the opponent conceded early, right? I think so. Well, it wasn't that early, but it was kind of sort of early. Like, it was shocking, to say the least. Somehow we're 43 minutes into the video already, guys. I would love to play the deck more, because it was actually pretty fun. It's kind of, like I said, these ones are challenging for me. I would need to practice a lot more. So it would have been really sweet to see this come into play. We did draw it today, at least, so that's cool. Honestly, if you see a lot of those token builds, man, you might want 3 of these, because in that last game could have gone a lot differently had we drawn differently. And so I like all the extra spot removal early on. That's one of the reasons we were able to take that Gruul deck down. You know, that early spot removal is huge. Simple things like the fact that Cut Down can hit Hal and Al as well, it goes a really long way. We didn't get to see Bankbuster do too much today, did we? Not really. Not really. We just drew off it a couple times, I think. Karn Silex would have been cool too. I really like these as our board wipes, but we didn't really see them, and maybe that's because I just didn't include enough of them overall. Something you could consider, guys, and this is a big if, this is a big maybe, maybe drop down to 1 Jaya. The problem is I think Jaya is going to put in a lot of work. Sometimes it's not going to look like Jaya is putting in a lot of work, but I think overall, I think it's really good, and I think it's going to be worth the 2 of, but it is possible to drop down to 1 of these, especially since the -8 doesn't work in this deck at all. Again, you're not really looking at the -8 anyways. It's, you know, even if it did work in this deck more, you're still not going to use that -8 very often. So like, you could drop down to 1 and maybe go up another Consumes All. Depends what you're going up against, right? It still hits your own tokens too, so there's going to be moments where you're just ahead of the game and you don't have to drop the Consumes All, and you're just rocking all of your tokens from the Jaya and the Sorin, and so it would actually be worse for you to play this. So maybe it's the 3rd Karn Silex instead. Maybe you want 3 of these. I could definitely see that. I think the Morbid Opportunist needs more time to shine. We need to play with it more to see if it would actually work in here really well. I think it does. We got to see it do a lot of work in that Gruul matchup especially. So I wouldn't cut these. I think they're pretty good. Another thing, if you're going down a Giant, you could drop like an Abrade as well, and that opens up a possibility for another card too, like a Burn Down the House on the top. Look at that last game, guys. Burn Down the House would have done a ton of stuff there. Burn Down the House off the top. It would have got rid of the Enduring Angel too. Like, yeah. Oh wow, that would have done a lot, huh? So maybe drop an Abrade, go up a Burn Down the House. If I wouldn't drop the Jaya, but if you're looking for room for another card, then you could potentially drop a Jaya. And I think the main reason there that my brain is going to Jaya is the double red. I don't think the double red's going to hold you up at all. But it looked like it was going to hold us up in that one game. It just happened to not hold us up because the opponent conceded there before it did. So, yeah. I like the build. I think it's pretty solid. I could see ranking up with it, but we need to do some fine-tuning based on what the meta finally lands on. And like that fine-tuning might just mean like an extra Karn Silex and get that Burn Down the House on the top too. I think the Burn Down the House, at least a 1 of, especially since worst comes to worst, you just drop some Devils instead. Now it is double red, but again, I don't think the double red's going to hold you up. I think the mana base is pretty solid, and the Bloodfell Caves, it doesn't slow us down. And the life gain's nice too. Technically it does slow us down, but this particular deck doesn't care too much if it does slow us down. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought down in the comments. What would you add or take out of this build? Overall, I think it was pretty solid. If you guys made it this far into the video, then y'all are champions, and I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.